Sahayam Kanaway Telecom, Greg Naganim, Uksan Nagan Midlight Kaba Tryon State Natural Area, Nagak Oi Kanaway Mitsaika Slush. Hello everyone, my name is Greg. Today I'm at Tryon State Natural Area and I hope everyone is well. Nitsaika Sladwa Kab Uiha Pidre Nitsaika Nanach Pus Uskan Stick. Let's take a walk along the trail and look for bigleaf maple. I will share some interesting information about bigleaf maple and its important uses for tribal folks. Let's get going. The bigleaf maple is very common at Tryon and elsewhere. It is a native tree important to the landscape it is connected to. As we walk the trail, it's pretty much everywhere. The tree is deciduous and loses its leaves throughout the fall. So today the leaves have been falling everywhere with their wide range of autumn colors. Here is what the bark of the bigleaf maple tree looks like. We can compare it to the bark of western red cedar, Douglas fir, red alder. These are other trees common at Tryon. Finally, here is the bark of a young bigleaf maple tree. Another maple common at Tryon is vine maple. It has a much smaller leaf. As mentioned, our indigenous people use bigleaf maple for many purposes. Here, Gabe is hauling a piece of a fallen tree. Him and Chris are planning to do some carving. Here, Gabe is carving a spoon, and Chris is carving a bowl. In the spring, the maple bark is gathered and peeled from the trees. Here we see the method of removing the inner layer bark from the outer layer. It's the inner layer used in the basketry. Here is the maple bark after just being peeled. You see it has a nice green color. The maple bark is then stored for a period of time before, and here's the bigleaf maple bark after it's been dried for a period of time. Usually we'll keep it for about a year before we use it so that it cures. Here is an old Willamette Valley basket with some dyed maple bark. A special kind of mud by springs was probably used for the dyeing. Here is a recently made basket with both natural color maple bark and black dyed maple bark. The main part of the basket is also Juncus rush. Another method is to boil acorn tree galls, walnuts, and husks, and other materials that have tannin content. Rusty bolts or other rusty metals are also used. These all create a black dye. Here is some maple bark after being dyed with a mixture of walnuts and husk and a piece of rusty metal. As we see the bigleaf maple trees in the forest, you will notice the other plants that depend on the trees. It's fall time now, and the licorice fern has sprung up again. There are also lichens, algae, and other forms of plant and fungi life. It's important to note that moss and lichens are important measures of air quality, as they absorb pollutants and contaminants. Here we see the young licorice fern. The fern has medicinal purposes that indigenous people use it for. It is good to help with coughs, sore throats, and colds. You can gather the root and remove the outer layer and chew on it. It does taste like licorice, but it can also be very bitter if you get it at the wrong time. So the next time you're at Tryon Creek State Park, be sure to take a closer look at the bigleaf maple. Tribal folks use it for many purposes, including for making cups, plates, using branches for fire tongs, using the leaves for berry coverings, and many more uses. Ayamasi.